Ash Ketchum has had a lot of designs over his 25 years, ranging from his anime appearances being redesigned to match the new region, or even his manga variants such as the Electric Tale of Pikachu. And now with the 25 years coming to an end, Ash Ketchum will finally be leaving the anime. So I thought to myself, hey, why not rank every single Ash Ketchum design in a tier list? Which brings us now to today's video, ranking every single Ash Ketchum design. However, I won't be alone for this video, as I'll be joined by my best bro, Orizora.
Yo, what's going on guys? It's Orizora here. Thank you to my bro Vivo for having me along.
Now with the introductions done and out of the way, let's begin with the rules. This tier list will cover every single Ash design we deem necessary, meaning we may miss some of the ones that you're thinking of. Rule number 2, a design's ranking will also be affected by its art style. And lastly, rule number 3, which is more of a disclaimer. This video is our opinion, so you may not agree with our rankings. Although we'd love to hear your rankings, so make sure to put them in the comments down below. With all that stuff out of the way, let's begin the video. First up, in the very bottom, we have Movie 22. I'm sure we can all agree this is the worst one without any issues. I don't think I have to explain too much, but to put it simply, Ash does not look well in a realistic style of 3D. Especially with the art style these guys were going for, which seems really uncanny. However, I'm not saying Ash can't look good in 3D, as we see how he looks in the Masters X trailer, which looks amazing. Other than that, I don't really want to spend too much more time on this guy, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, we already have a manga version, this time being Electric Tale of Pikachu. It might be because I have no attachment to this series or design of Ash, but I think it's just alright. This Ash definitely shares some similarities to his original design. However, this Ash has its own major differences to reflect the fact that he is a different Ash. This Ash has much longer hair that sticks out of the front of his cap. His hat is also different, this time sporting a PM logo on the front, of course standing for Pocket Monsters. This Ash also sports a red jacket over his shirt, rather than the blue one Ash is associated with. I don't think the red jacket looks bad, but it reminds me too much of Red rather than Ash. Another thing about his jacket is how much longer it is, reaching down to his legs, which I feel is an odd choice since this Ash has longer limbs than his anime counterpart. Him having longer limbs makes him look much older, just like the other characters in the manga, so having him wear baggy clothing when he's meant to be tall looks kinda weird in my opinion. But maybe that could also just be because of the style of fashion it was back then. Whatever the reason, this Ash will be staying here in the C tier. Next up on the C tier, we have Ash from Sun and Moon. When I first saw this design, it was a major shock as we saw it right after Ash lost to Alain, which is some major whiplash. This Ash looked nothing like the Ash we knew, and because of this, the majority of the community did not like it. To make matters even worse, we saw this design coupled with the first animation preview, and the Pokemon anime had taken a big turn, looking more like something like Yokai Watch. It even went to the extent that some older fans didn't even recognize this was Ash at all. Looking back at it now, this Ash design is fine, and a good start for an experimental art style. Because of the tone of this series, Ash was a really expressive character, meaning we got to see him make some funny faces, cool faces, and whatever kind of face this is meant to be. Although this was the first Ash to also win a league, it also feels like the weakest Ash at some times. But once again, that's mainly due to the tone of the series. As time went on, Ash's face structure would change, growing to be much smaller. I don't actually know the reason for this, but I feel like it was just a consistency matter. The main thing I like about this Ash is his simple design, as just like the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, the simple design allowed for amazing animation, especially during some of the battles. Overall, Sun and Moon Ash works for the series he was intended to be in, which is a shonen slice of life. But compared to some of the other Ashes on this list, he doesn't really stand much of a chance. Okay, this one might be a bit controversial for being this low on the list, but we have Journey's Ash. Journey's Ash is in an odd place on the Ash design spectrum, which is something I've created just now. Having elements from Sun and Moon like fluffy hair, but also having eyes somewhat similar to previous iterations. Much like Sun and Moon, the strongest point of this art style is the ability to have cool looking animation. Is what I would say, but most of the times Journey's is kinda stale. Ignoring the staleness, this Ash character design is probably the most simple. This simpleness in character design allows for consistency across the board. An example of a character who's stiff and not consistent is Gal Mikado from Buddy Fight. He has a really cool design, but it's really stiff and not easy to animate nicely, resulting in him having some weird off-model shots. Alright, now I'm going to do a complete 180. Although I said Journey's Ash is very consistent, as the series went on, he actually started to look a lot more cooler. This is also in part as the series was ending its finale and the animators were different. In the Masters 8, Ash had sharp eyes and his hair was becoming more spikier, making him look so much cooler, as seen with the final battle. The last thing I want to talk about is his clothing, which unfortunately in my opinion is not my favourite at all. Overall, Journey's Ash is okay, but compared to the other Ashes, he also does not stand a chance.
When I first saw this design in the trailer, my eyes were stunned, as it was a really beautiful Pokemon art style that brought a lot of vibrancy, life, and just a whole ton of energy. This was needed for the movie's animation direction as well as the overall emotional tone of the movie. In terms of his design, this Ash sports a more fashionable design that you could even see someone wearing in real life, whilst keeping all the aspects that make him Ash, such as his colour scheme. The only major dislike with this design is how spaced out his eyes are, being too far apart.
Alrighty, next up is Movie 20 Ash. This Ash design made its debut in the Pokemon I Choose You movie. If it wasn't obvious enough, this Ash is pretty much a modern version of OS Ash, having only slight differences, such as his hat logo or his colour scheme. Because of how similar he is to OS Ash, I can't really hate this Ash, since it's so average and nothing mind-breaking. Nothing bad and nothing too good either, just good old Ash in his iconic design but in modern times.
I have conflicting feelings on this Ash. First up, we have his clothes, which are a mix of Journey's and Power of Us, being realistic clothes that you could wear. Taking the vest from Journey's and making it look cooler was also a really nice touch. His clothes being short sleeved and having shorts also makes sense since he's in a hot jungle for a lot of the movie. Onto how this design looks. In some shots, mainly the close-ups that are in action look sick. However, from a stationary, this design can look odd, making me wish he was always on the move. As this design only appeared once for a movie, I really don't have too much to say on him other than he ranged from alright to super cool.
What's this? Another manga Ash? That's right, this time we have the Ash design drawn by Mato, the illustrator of the first 8 volumes of Pokemon Adventures. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Vivo, you're just being biased just because you love the manga. And my appropriate response to that is, me biased? Never. All jokes aside, it's pretty obvious that Mato's design as Ash Ketchum would go in the top tier, being pretty much a mix of red and Ash. 2 trainers with already awesome designs, so comboed with Mato's art style, and we have this. Unfortunately, we don't have many images of this Ash, but from the few we have, I've liked what I've seen. It would be super cool to have Mato draw this Ash more, but ultimately,
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Finally, we've made it to the S tier, with the best of the best Ashes. And of course, who better to start off this tier than original Ash himself. This Ash was used for Kanto, Orange Islands and Johto, and there's a reason for it. This design was extremely solid and screams 90s anime, whilst also having an amazing colour scheme that has multiple bright colours. Not to mention how memorable and iconic this design is, with him marking a lot of staples that would be in future Ash designs, such as his main colour being blue. This Ash's clothing obviously takes inspiration from red, but that's not really a bad thing considering this was the first series. And if we're being honest, Ash's blue jacket is much more iconic than Red's red jacket. When we get to see this Ash in high quality, it looks amazing, especially in the Johto first opening. And even in the JN flashbacks, this Ash looks great too. Unfortunately, I don't really have much more to say on this guy. His design is the staple of all Ash designs, and every other design should follow suit. However, because it's the very first, we have many more designs that improve on this.
Advanced Generation Ash is pretty much an advanced version of OG Ash. It's still in the old era of the anime, that being said, it's the pinnacle of the old era, with Ash leveling in all aspects such as character and of course design. This Ash was expressive due to being so energetic, and his clothing design goes well with this. as this guy would do some crazy stunts over time, like throwing trees into the sky or jumping really high into the sky. And not even just stunts, he also had no chill. He would throw hands with people and Pokemon. Ash's jump in this series was really cool, and it was nice seeing him have a hood, although I wish he did wear it at least once. Overall, this Ash is pretty cool, and I don't have much if any dislikes about him. He served as a good gateway to the next series, which would have a big increase in quality. Black and White is an interesting design as it's in between Diamond and Pearl and X and Y. It's more of a detailed version of Diamond and Pearl, due to him having coloured eyes, which was usually left out for movies. Black and White gets a lot of slack for Ash being too childish and resetting as a trainer, right after his amazing display in the Sinnoh League. However, character aside, this design still looks pretty cool, with Ash getting his hood back from AG. This Ash also has a nice colour balance of both black and white, which nicely relates to this series, whilst also keeping his iconic blue colour. With the black and white art style, consistency was never an issue, as there was really not too many bad shots in this series, whether it's just talking or a filler episode. Because of this, I really rate Black and White Ash highly. Although I have a tons of positives for this Ash, there are two designs that I think surpass it. So without further ado, we have... The first Ash improvement is Diamond and Pearl. This series is one of the first Pokemon series I watched, and needless to say, Ash's design was definitely one of the reasons why I stayed watching for so long. This Ash feels like an older and much more experienced version of Ash, without actually changing his height or age. This is due to his face being more slimmed down and longer. This Ash also looks so great because it takes what was lacking from AG and making it even better, such as correcting his eye shape and shortening his hair, but also making it level rather than droopy. Another thing that helps this Ash is the art style of DP as a whole, being great, being consistent, having modern aspects while also keeping the classic aspects, allowing for both sides, being new and old, to enjoy. So pretty much it is a universal art style, which is why so many old, new, whatever age loves the Diamond and Pearl art style, and also Diamond and Pearl Ash. Another thing to add to this is the guy looked spectacular when it came to the movies, as well as just pure awesomeness. And the award for the best Ash design in our opinion goes to...
I mean, was there really any doubt? Although I made a whole video on how this Ash design doesn't look anything like Ash since he's meant to be a 10-year-old, it doesn't mean that this Ash design isn't the best. As although it may not make sense from a logical standpoint, that does not matter in this video. It's still extremely cool and a joy to see whenever he's on screen. Whether that's when he's battling with Greninja or jumping off a cliff to save a Pokemon. Anyway, back to you, bro.
So yes, as Vol was saying, this Ash is by far the coolest design of Ash, taking everything good from the previous designs and putting them all into one. The core design principles from the OG, the sharp coolness from AG, the longer limbs from DP, and the more detailed eyes from Black and White. Like seriously, this design radiates cool. From his debut, we knew this design would look sick as hell, with this shot of Ash looking absolutely fantastic. The only flaw of this Ash is because it can be limited and stiff during stationary scenes such as talking. However, this isn't all the time, and I think it's a fine trade-off for the sick battle scenes we get to see this guy have. Overall, this Ash is the perfect Ash, and probably will be for the rest of time. There's a reason why people draw fan art of older Ash, as they take inspiration from this guy.
Yes sir. And that's all the Ash designs we felt necessary to include in this video. As I said before, this list is opinionated, so you may not agree with everything we said. However, that doesn't mean your opinion should go unheard, so head to the comments down below and let us know your ranking of these designs. If you like this video and haven't seen my one on XY Ash, go check it out now. And last but not least, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to both me and Orazora for more Annie Poke content. Until then, take care.